What's up, everybody? Ethan, fight me on this.
I'm Jill at CoachJill.April.
Welcome back. How are you?
Welcome to the podcast. Uh, we actually already recorded this episode for you in full. If you were live on TikTok with us, you would have seen it, heard it, been a part of it. When Ethan went to edit it last night, there was all of a sudden no sound, even though it was set up the same as it always is. And we reached out to Riverside, the software we use, to record and edit, and they were absolutely 0% help. They
couldn't figure it out.
They just kept being like, "What mic did you use?" Same mic we always use, team. So instead of going back and forth with them via email for the next fucking week, we're just gonna take it from the top. So if you're having small deja vu, welcome. Do you have a heart?
Yeah. Yesterday I had therapy, and for those of you that were on the live, you heard me say it then. The hard was getting the diagnosis and support letter from my therapist, and not because I didn't know the things that he said. It just the test results came back. I took so many. I've taken so many tests in the last 3 months, 6 months. And though I know all of these things, I am no stranger to learning about myself and old experience from my trauma and experiences and the way I have to navigate this life. And as I learn more and it's just this whopping holy shit of what the fuck. I don't sit with my shit a lot by way of, I don't really sit and weigh out the holy fuck Richter scale of what I've been through. I share it. I share real emotion, raw emotion. I say everything with my chest. And and that is just how I have to get it done. I know something and many things are wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. Fuck off. Wrong things were done to me, and the byproduct is things are wrong. The wiring isn't accurate. It's not all the. It's not the same. There's damage in some places. There's irreparable damage in lots of places. And while I know that and knew that, the gravity really landed with all of the test results coming back and the weight of my experience in this world, in this life, is sitting so fucking heavy on me. It's sitting so fucking heavy on me. It's not because I didn't know. It's because it is now on paper confirmed that in every area that I'm affected, in all of these spaces and tests that I've had to take, and I score so high. And that's not like yay. Competition would mean like yay. I don't do tests well in school. Love competition. Love being the best. Love being the best for me. But this is one of those areas that I would love to fail at. Because having multiple professionals tell you, confirm for you that like everything is real, Ethan. Trauma survivors know what it's like when you think like, did I make that up? There's no way it could have been that horrible. There's no way another human would do that to a child. And while I have sat and wrestled with that my whole life, when it's on paper in front of you, like it should have been more validating than I think it's been. And this is partially my fault because I set expectations on being validated. And I know better. Because I also should have expected that it would come with some realizations that were going to be very heavy. For those of you that know, my journey through this hell starts at 3. And it's hard to conceptualize if you don't have kids. It's hard to conceptualize if you're not around them. I am almost 36. Not that I didn't know that I never had a shot, but on paper, some of these tests speak to specifically that time in my life and reaffirm and declare that I never had a shot. It makes me question how I survived. Why? Because I have an issue. No, fuck off with that. It's not fun to have to be on mission because of what happened. It's not fun that this is my story. I need people to fucking grasp that shit. The push up and the, oh, but you did it and you're here and you're strong. You're so strong. No, that is not the point. Too often we go to the other side of trying to support people in this position. Like, yeah, but you did it. You're here. You're so good. You're strong. I could never. I know. I have watched people die around me. See, mine is like every day over and over again experiences where there was supposed to be care, love. At 3, as a child, the thing that I couldn't control in life was the people that were protecting me and the ones that were harming me so aggressively that my world was formed around it. It's not fun. Just because I can say that out loud to you guys. It's not fun. It is not healing or cathartic to share that hell with you. To have experienced it at an age and at a time in everybody's life when, my God, I don't know what it is to be protected. I don't know what it is to be loved unconditionally. I do not know what it is to be safe. I have had to manifest and create those pockets. And so many of them were so fucking wrong. Yeah. That and more on replay in my head as I understand now the gravity of why I've been this way my whole life. Of the things that have affected me and I've had to remember and witness and experience and deal with. I grieve the child that I never got to. I think that's what hurts the most. I know it is. People ask me about memories from childhood. They're all trauma. I don't have good memories. There's no ha-has that aren't trauma. It's all not real back from that time because it's all trauma. So I grieve that thing that I will never understand. For me.
Yeah, it's not often I see pieces of your own story disrupt you in the way this one has. Because it's your story, I feel like you shouldn't have to be, but you're good at just being like, yeah, that's a thing. My heart is just like very much living in this province the last, I don't know, month. Listen, it's been hard to live in this province for longer than a month, but I don't know what has shifted in the last month, but I cannot wait to get out of here. And the comment I get the most on social media is, no, you can't leave because if good people like you leave, it's going to stay this way. I don't know how to say this.
Sure as fuck isn't gonna be her.
I don't know how to say this nicely, but this province is going to stay this way. And I know people don't like that. And they're like, that's pessimistic and blah, 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 blah.
Realism.
I'm born and raised in Alberta. And every single day that I stay here, I am reminded that the way this province is so deeply ingrained in the people that live here. Had a really lovely reminder of that yesterday. Our neighbor kid was outside playing with chalk. It's a regular activity for kids to do. I took my dog for a walk last night and I walked past the front of their house where she was playing with sidewalk chalk. And instead of a rainbow or a flower or hopscotch or any regular child thing to draw on the fucking sidewalk with chalk, instead it says Alberta Independence across their sidewalk. Maybe their parent wrote it. No, it's in child's writing. I took a picture of it. And it's little reminders like that unfortunately make it feel so hopeless to be in this province. You're pushing your political beliefs, agendas on
Fuck off. It's rhetoric.
on a child that doesn't know any better. That kid's maybe 12, maybe. And instead of drawing normal shit on the sidewalk, she's writing
a rainbow.
She's writing Alberta independence. And it just like it feels so like disappointing and hopeless and frustrating that like it's not just the older generation. Once the older generation leaves, things will change. Really? Because there's a 12-year-old writing Alberta independence on the sidewalk down the street from my house.
How's that worked for racism? Just out of fuck you curiosity.
The only way things get better with the older generation dying is if we stop passing it down to younger generations.
Or if they all die at once. Because like one goes to cancer here, one goes because of actual old age there, one falls downhill because breaks your hip. But like if they just all, if it was like, hey, if you've ever in your life participated in the harm of a black person, indigenous person, and or otherwise non-white person, disappear. Right there it would stop.
Yeah, it's just like feeling really heavy because then I look at the rest of the world and I'm like, oh, wait, is it any better anywhere else? Because then all of Ontario is on fire and all the US can do is complain about the smoke in the air.
Except for we have to deal with their California shit.
Except we send our water bombers there every year when they have fires. And
I think everybody should just stop helping the states altogether.
I really have a hard time being like, everybody, and my least favorite thing I get from people is, well, racism exists here. Well, racism exists there. Well, that exists everywhere. I'm well aware. But I can almost guarantee that children in BC or less conservative areas are just drawing normal fucking things on the sidewalk when they go outside to play with chalk. I do deeply believe that's an Alberta conservative specific experience to have.
Yeah. Yep.
Somebody replied to me on Threads and when I posted the picture and he said, oh, but you would have clicked your heels at a rainbow. I love when they really think they're doing something. And I was like, well, yeah, that would be an age appropriate, child appropriate thing to be drawing on the sidewalk. To which he replied, really? Because when I was a kid, I was drawing stick figures.
So you
fighting?
suck at art?
I was drawing stick figures fighting or something. Was that age appropriate? And I replied, I said, yeah, sounds like you had an imagination.
Or you just really sucked at drawing.
But like we can do this all day because you drawing stick figures fighting is a regular child thing to do, not your parents' political views in sidewalk chalk. Keep going. I can play this game all day. The common theme of my week is that I have the time to argue. So, but yeah, my heart is just like I can't even walk my dog without being like, right, that's where I live.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a joy?
Yeah, the weekend was pretty good, I think. Saturday, I got to hang out with my partner most of the day. We moved our bodies, went to the art walk. That was fucking crazy. Did you guys know that there's an art walk in the city? It's 3 days long. It's like 5 kilometers long. I didn't know there was that many artists in the city. It's actually quite cool. Just like a really, really cool. Got to see a mural get painted. Ugh. All the things that were worth doing before we got stormed on, which was also kind of fun. Like it just all of a sudden opened up. We were supposed to get it for like 6 hours that day, but we only got half an hour. What the fuck was that? Climbed, fooded, hung out. What was Sunday? Oh, I modeled. Modeled on Sunday. That was fun. I got some cool clothes. I got a pair of floral pads that are going to be so good in the fall. I actually cannot wait. Yep, mostly that. Time with my people. Time doing stuff I like doing. Enjoy doing. Find joy in doing.
I was just waiting if
Oh,
you were going to cough. Good. No coughing. You're not coughing because I said you were gonna. And I'm the one with an attitude problem. You're not
Worth
funny.
it.
You're not funny.
Worth it.
We've been live lately and we've been getting a lot of questions of the standard, like, how'd you meet? Where'd you meet? How did you know you were poly? Who do you date? Why do you date? How do you date? I think that about covers it. And all of those things we've answered in many parts. If you've been here since the beginning, you might know a lot of the answers to these questions already, but I don't think we've put it all together in an episode in a while. And I would like to be able to be like, go listen to this podcast episode and it will answer all of those questions. So that is what we are going to create today. I have written down all of the questions we've been asked recently. How did we meet?
Through tactile effort. We met at the gym. Both trainers. Yep. Yeah. Both trainers. We didn't really cross like direct paths until I bought a shirt. She fell in love handing me a shirt. Tell me I'm wrong. You literally didn't have that reaction yesterday when I said that you just looked at the camera and were like, so case in point, she can be tough today, but she was not yesterday. She's the one that fell in love handing me a fucking shirt. That has nothing to do with me. Yeah.
Once upon a moon, Ethan and I were both trainers out of a gym, and I knew who he was. But if there's one thing you should know about me is that if you're a man in my DMs, I'm gonna ignore you. It's actually true with Ethan and my last monogamous ex. Is like, you better be willing to put in the work, and that's not like oh, I'm hard to get. It's that I'm running a business. So Ethan bought a shirt off me, and I am not going to say that he did it just to talk to me. I truly believe he wanted the shirt because we have similar missions in this life of like, the shirt said self-love on it. And that like fits Ethan's brand, it fits my brand. But he asked if he could buy a shirt. I said, yeah. And then I assume I offered to just like bring it to the gym because I knew he worked there. Was very much my intent to just be like, here's your shirt, goodbye. And then we chatted for a while. It was like nothing crazy right off the bat. Said hi to each other at the gym a few times. Eventually, Ethan asked me to come over and work out because he had a gym in his garage. So we did that a few times. And then sometimes I would come over after work because I was working in person, and I would like stop by for like coffee, and we would just like sit on the couch and work together. And then at some point, I started hanging out after we would work out. And then at some point, it wasn't just about work. And
Yep.
And then this was like, what, 7 years ago?
Not that long.
6-ish.
6, yeah. I'll say 6. How old Nola?
It was like pre-COVID.
How old Nola? 8.
8.
Yeah. She would have been like a grown dog, but so 2, that makes sense. Use your kid, not mine.
She's not my kid, she's my dog. We were monogamous at the time. We dated for, I don't know, a few months. Didn't go great. One time we went to the dog park, got in a fight about something, and then on the car ride home, when I dropped him off, I said, hey, do you think this is not working? And he said, yeah. And that was pretty much that. And then I got butthurt because we ended our relationship, and then Ethan started a new relationship. and I'm not saying this was correct thinking, but at the time, it very much landed as like, oh, if he can just like jump into another relationship, then like ours must have meant nothing. I'm grown with a developed frontal lobe, and I recognize that that's not accurate or true or how that works. But at the time, in my 21, 2 year old brain that came out of a deeply narcissistic relationship and was also monogamous, that was what my brain told me. So I blocked Ethan's number for like 3.5 years. Like I really went for it. We both had other monogamous relationships in that timeline. Ethan actually played a role in my monogamous relationship ending, even though his number was blocked and we were not speaking. And
I did nothing. I was blocked. I was just living life the fuck away from her and whoever the fuck that was. I didn't do shit.
my last monogamous relationship had some issues. And by some issues, I mean the biggest one was intimacy and like both lack of and a disconnect in wants, needs, and desires. We were long distance, and he very much thought that our sex life didn't matter because we were long distance, and I was of the opposite opinion that it should matter more because we only see each other every couple months, and there was just like a very large disconnect there. Um, it was also very vanilla, which is in fact boring in my brain. It doesn't have to be boring in your brain, but it is in fact boring in my brain. And I was trying to work on that with him, and he was just like not really meshing, vibing, understanding. And at some point, he was like, I don't get it. I don't even know how you know about these things. Anyways, like, where did you even learn this? And I said, do you actually want me to answer that question, or was that a rhetorical question? And he was like, no, like, where did you learn about all of this? So I answered the question. And that
This
was,
motherfucker hating me, unbeknownst to me,
and
for something I didn't actually do.
like a small detail doesn't matter, not his right to hate, but he knew Ethan because they were both in the football world and they worked out at the same gym. So he was like aware of Ethan existing as a human. Um, so that was a tough day for him. And then
Sounds like he was aware of Ethan existing as a dominant.
And I'll tell you for free, as a submissive, it's like way less fun when you have to teach the person about the thing you want done. And I'm not saying you can't teach, but like it just kind of takes a little bit of the excitement out when I'm like, here's how you do it. Okay, now do it to me. Um, and like he didn't really have a willingness to like learn on his own and then apply. Um, so we tried for a few months and it just like nothing was really working in many aspects. So I ended that relationship, unblocked Ethan. Um, and my monogamous ex actually said when we broke up, he was like, whatever, you're probably just going to end up back with Ethan anyways.
I also wasn't there.
And I was like, no, I literally haven't talked to him in 3.5 years. Like, no. And then unblocked Ethan.
Again, didn't know I was blocked.
Again, I'm not saying it was the correct decision. It was just the decision I made. Unblocked Ethan, posted a video of me squatting at the gym. Ethan replied to my story being like, your squat sucks. I replied being the human I am, saying, well, fix it then. He replied being the human he is and perfectly describes our dynamic. And he said, okay. And then I hired him as my trainer. Um, and he did, in fact, help me fix my squat. The reason I can squat today is because of Ethan. Um, and then at some point after months of training together, I went, oh, I can't just be this man's client and friend. Uh, and that led to a conversation of, hi, I'm not really interested in just being your friend. But I think I'm queer and I would like to explore that and perhaps explore that not necessarily with you involved. Because in my monogamous relationship, when I talked about wanting to explore my queer side, the offer I got was to have a threesome, and that was just like not really the vibe I was going for. But in monogamy, not really an option to be like, no, I don't want you included. So that was important to me. Exploring things with anybody, if it would have been Ethan or somebody else, that was always going to be an important thing for me. And in that time, Ethan discovered he was polyamorous.
Mhm.
You want me to keep yapping?
Yes. This is one of those stories that I'm overtelling. It's not that I don't love you, but like we tell this story a lot. Like this is why we're doing this episode. It's because I'm tired of answering this fucking question. Because like, we do have like a lot of history, and like it is a part of our lore that we tried this monogamously and failed for many reasons. Um, and when we came back, like the intention was just she sucked at squatting, and I was going to fix it. And for a very long time, it was just that. But like when connection is genuine and safe and real, it's hard to ignore. But that can still also be whatever the fuck that needs to be. And so for a very long time, it was just a friend and client, someone that was still safe. But at some point, even my system clocked that it was there's no way that if someone can walk back into a space that they exited so aggressively and continue to present safe and all those things like that, I'm also missing um, more than I think I am in this life. And like I'd already discovered polyamory and knew, and it like made me make way more sense in my life. Now I get to love people, but I wasn't in a position to explore it. I wasn't in a position to understand what that really meant for me. I was still dating someone monogamously. um, and yeah, it eventually became a thing where it was like, look, I'm whatever happens for me now that I'm not in this relationship, like I'm polyamorous, and I need to know what that means for me, and how I get to live this life and the autonomy and the freedom to love people the way that I have been trying to love them my whole life. I never had the space to do it. Um, and that was how I brought what I wanted out of life to Jill. And even when we said this, like we never really used the vernacular that we were going to date. We said we're going to share in some life for as long as we choose to do this, whatever that looks like. Um, that was the promise that we made. Not necessarily to each other that way, but to fostering this connection and what that means for us as it goes through it. And 2 years and change later, after that conversation, here we are still 3 houses away, a year away from a fourth home, um, doing really cool things, career changes, all the shit.
Yeah, for me, it was like obviously wanting to explore my queer side, and I didn't really know how to do that in a monogamous relationship. So when Ethan was like, cool, yeah, I'm polyamorous, it wasn't really like shocking information to me in the sense of like it wasn't shocking. Um, I had heard of it before. I actually followed a couple. They're like have been proven to be deeply unsafe, but at the time they were one of the only couples that was like openly poly and also had a following on the internet. And I'd followed them for years, and I always was just like, that's cool, like that makes sense, and I get why you would want to live that way, but I didn't necessarily know it was an option for me. Like I thought it was a thing other people did. I didn't really fully grasp that it was an option for me. So when Ethan brought it to me and was kind of like, yeah, I know you're not straight, and also like not really a big deal because I'm polyamorous. And when I did some digging and learning, it was very much a moment of like, wait, that's an option. Um, because I grew up in a very white, straight, married with kids, conservative family. Every single person on both sides of my family is white, straight, was married or is married with children. I have zero examples of anything other than that in my like fairly extended family. I actually can't, even if I go past like my aunts and uncles and I go to like further out rings of my family, I actually can't pinpoint a single person that isn't in a hetero relationship. There's like not white, but like I can't think of like anything cooler than that. Um, so it felt a little bit like not overwhelming, but a little bit of like, how does this work? How is it going to work? What does it look like? Because I had no examples of even a queer relationship, let alone anything else on top of that.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And I was at a point in my relationship and life where there was so much shit just not adding up. Um, and I remember the back-to-back therapy sessions that kind of unraveled the way that I viewed the world, from my own perspective for the permanent future. So I was gonna say foreseeable, but it's permanent. And the first one was my faith, and just having it out with God. And I've had it out with God many times over the course of my religious career, um, and this one was just like at the end of this, like being a worship leader and still being in church and praying and doing all this work and in therapy and fucking I'm nowhere near the same person I was, but I've seen no version of levity from the great being that is omnipotent. Um, and I started, and I've always been able to kind of poke holes in the whole fucking story and the whole way that Christianity exists on this planet and the Bible and shit. And the unraveling was really the hold on, you're still trying to convince me that it's the right thing to do to make people who have experienced horrific things done to them by the ones that were put in charge of them, to be grateful to Sky Daddy for the suffering they experienced because they survived and turned into good people. But they survived. They physically had that done to them. I would like to point out that it pisses me off that in both stories, both mine and Jesus's, God's the only one that didn't feel shit. Like, he sent his son as a sacrifice, which is fucking crazy to me, but it's on par for course considering he lets people fuck kids and then welcomes them into the pearly gates with open arms just because they said, sorry, daddy. It all does make sense, but that's also then like a why the fuck would I want to go on the other side of that gate? And in therapy, it came crashing down, and every single moment of my story unraveled that one, and my belief just fell. It was gone, and I've never felt so light in the moment. Um, the thing that I was holding on to was the thing that was never meant for me. How could I be a Christian and believe in Sky Daddy's love when the only love that I can conceptualize is physical? He's not even real. I shouldn't have been a Christian that whole time. Like, was I actually ever? Was I lying to myself? Like, so much of it started to unravel and be like, and then in the very next session, it was like, but I feel like I'm missing, like, I went and I love people and I try to care and I support and I do all this community work and I don't like know why. I just like, I feel so deeply for people, especially people that have suffered like I suffered, like and suffer at all. Like, I can really meet people there and like this. I love people because they exist. I think people are beautiful. I also like, I've been attracted to like every version of people. Men kind of suck, and like, but like I can appreciate a hot male. Like, two of my best friends are smoke shows, both Jesse and Sean, and like I just like they're gorgeous men. I can respect that. So good, but like I love them for them. Like, and they love me for me, and I really like that. But I never really have like a best. I have like a circle of friends that all love me. Like, there's a lot of them, and they're really cool, and they support me. But that doesn't sit. I don't know where that fits. Where do I fit in? Because I don't. I love everybody that way. I will be the fiercest protector of everybody in here because I love on them because I can. That's something I'm great at. But like, why am I so miserable in these single one-off relationships, these spaces where the one person is supposed to love me but can't, by their choice, decision, or by my own? It never. But we both put so much effort in. It seems like we both feel so shorted by this thing, and it's like a holy fucking. But like, there's so much love there. And I never really actually hold it against them because I do love them. I didn't stop loving them. I don't. Why would I stop loving them? They chose to love me, even if it ended horrible. I know they tried to love me. I'm aware of what I carry with me that makes it very hard to handle and juggle, and it is not for everybody. But I don't understand why. I understand what God said, to love all and to go keep loving. But I can't find any of that for myself. It's not that I couldn't find any of that for myself. It's because I was going about it a weird way. in a way that I was never going to be fully fulfilled or satiated in the spaces of safe, genuine, chosen love by people that were around me. Gotta love a therapist that has more knowledge than you. Offered me polyamory as a way to go dig a little on something I don't know. And in the first week, I was like, what the fuck do you mean that this is? I've been poly since I was 3. I didn't mean to be. I didn't know I was going to be. I didn't know it was a thing. But I've been loving people wholeheartedly since I can remember. 1090 that I have been and was polyamorous and will be poly absolutely I die. So that's on you.
Yeah, I think there's always like one thread that you pull at, and then you're just, well, because yeah, like mine started with like, I don't want to get married because all of you were deeply unhappy in your marriages. So this is like such a foreign concept to me that you're all married to people you clearly do not like. You might
But
have,
I love them.
like you might have loved them at some point, but you don't like them. But we signed a piece of paper, so we're gonna stay married, and that always really hurt my brain because I just like watched all these relationships in my life and be like, none of you like your spouses, and um, I do think my parents are the exception of that, but I also know my parents probably did not always like each other because they have like been through some not so fun things in their life. Um, but my parents are the healthiest example of marriage I have. And then you go outside of that, and I'm just like, wait, why are you guys all married? Um, and that's always been weird to me. Like, why do you choose to be married if you don't like the person you're married to? Or why do you choose to be married if you're not going to like stay faithful to the person you're married to? So kind of threw marriage out the window early. And then eventually, like with marriage came the fact that I don't want kids. And there was a piece of me for a while that thought I would like change my mind on kids, but I'm almost 30 and I don't foresee that changing ever. Um, yep. So it was like no marriage, no kids. My whole thing was like, I'll wear a ring, but I'm not signing the papers. And even when I did think about getting married, I was like, yeah, but whoever I marry is signing a prenup because like if you touch my business, I'll kill you. So there was a lot of signs that like I probably was not meant to live the white picket fence life. Um, and then no marriage, no kids, queer, polyamory just kind of like stacked on to the, oh yeah, I'm actually, there's reasons I'm not meant to live the life I've been watching my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's always you like pull at one thread and then it's just like, and also this and also that and also you should think about that and that other thing. um do we have rules and boundaries with who we date or how we date?
No rules, yes boundaries. And boundaries are all around safety and safety. Um, are two of our biggest rules off the top of my head that are like direct boundaries. And they're rules because like when you say them to somebody else, it sounds like a rule. You can't do this here, but it's a boundary because it has a purpose and a reason. Um, the boundary for us, number one, is that our room is our room. This is our house, but it is pretty fucking free use for any and all activities from whoever's in the house, except for our room. Our room is actually ours. It's the one place that we uh, keep ours. And it's not that we don't share. It's that if it's being used for fun things, then we both better be there. And the other like not second to any is testing and sexual safety and health regulation that way. We test quarterly if we haven't involved a new person in our lives. And that's not even like we were intimate, then we go, no, we like the moment we start hinting at being in connection with somebody that we're going to exchange a bodily fluid, kissing included, uh, we go get tested, they get tested. If they're in a relationship, they're getting tested. Um, that's our boundary if you want to ride this ride. Either of them or the unit one.
Yeah, we don't really, or don't really. We don't have rules around like who you can date. It's yeah, all like safety based. Like obviously if one of us had a concern, again, safety, whether physical or mental, with like a person somebody was seeing, we would express that. But no, we don't have rules around like I don't like what they do for work, you can't date them. Like we don't have rules that like give power to be like you can't explore that connection. Yeah, if one of us had a concern about the other person's physical or mental safety in regards to a partnership they were exploring, then we would have that conversation, and then we have like boundaries that can be created or adjustments that can be made. Like if there's an actual vibe issue with between Ethan and somebody I'm seeing, or between me and somebody he's seeing, and it's not like a safety thing, it's more just like a I don't know, something's not right, then we have those conversations when they come up in regards to like how can I continue to navigate a connection but make sure Ethan's comfortable in his own space and in our partnership. But those are more like case by case. It's not like one overarching rule. We just figure it out as it comes. Do you date solo or together?
Yes. Yes, we do. We primarily date solo. Jill and I do not hunt unicorns. We do not go after the people that are looking to have an experience with a couple. Jill and I are actively manifesting and putting energy out there for someone that wants to share in this life with us in a triad, in coming into this relationship, into this space as a new relationship. Though Jill and I have been together for an extended period of time, and this is our house. Um, the want, hope, and need is for someone to uh, show desire for both of us in that way, whether they walk in blind or they know what one of us and spend enough time here and go, you know what, I really enjoy you both, and this is something I'd like to pursue. We love being in triad. We love being in love with multiple people that way. So though we do want that and look forward to when it happens, we both understand and agree that it should happen organically through someone that most likely knows one of us. I think we're not saying it's impossible, but it's pretty hard to imagine someone from the outside that is walking into this brand new being like, no, I like you both up front. Like this is what I'm actively looking for. Would be a wonderful time, but yeah, we date solo in the hopes that we both find solo connections, but also on the outside chance that someone's like, you know what, there's a possibility down the road, and walking towards that possibility together.
Do your partners need to be into kink or BDSM?
Great question. Great question. For me, my answer is yes. Um, you can ask me why if you want, but my answer is yes. It is important to me. It's a big part of my life for regulation. It is a big part of my life for my autonomy. It is a big part of my life as a piece of my life that I just enjoy being in. And so in a potential partner, if they are simply vanilla, it's not that I'm not interested. I still find attraction to people, but there's just a lot about our interactions, our energy, and the way that I like to play and show that playful side just won't jive and wouldn't jive. That's not to say that somebody who's vanilla walks in and goes, I learned in the last 3 weeks I'm kinky as fuck. I just didn't know. That's not what I'm saying. But for me, I do bring it up in conversation when the opportunity feels safe and comfortable to do so. Most of the time, it gets brought up in pretty general conversation once we make it to coffee. Almost never before that, like when we're saying let's go for coffee. But once I have someone sitting in front of me, you're talking for long enough, and yep. But yeah, for me, it is a yes. It's not that I don't go for coffee with vanilla people. It's just that in looking for connection, I find it's easier to be around like-minded people.
Yeah, I think for me it's different depending on the connection though. Like if it was a connection between Ethan and I, and somebody, if it was more of like a triad, then yeah, I would think that's important. It's a big piece of me and Ethan's life, and it would be, I think, hard to fully integrate somebody like into a partnership with us if that
They
was
were.
not something they were interested in. Um, it would just kind of land as like they're not included
Mm-hmm.
in something. They don't have to like the exact same things as me. They don't have to be down for everything I'm down for, but it is something that I like to share in a triad. When it comes to exploring a connection solo for myself, I actually don't find that to be like a non-negotiable or a deal breaker. Um, any solo connections I'm exploring currently are with females, and that's just not really high on my list of like priorities or important things when it comes to like, exploring a connection with a female by myself. Ethan and I have some rules and boundaries on our like dom sub side of life, um, that would need to be respected, I guess, in like a solo partnership, but it's just like not really high on my list. Like it wouldn't be like in my top questions. It wouldn't really be a thing that was like a deal breaker, specifically when I'm exploring a connection solo. Um, kink and BDSM is a big piece of me and Ethan's life, and it doesn't feel like something I'm missing. So it doesn't really feel like something I need to have over there. I think I would be fine um, without it. Could everything just like be vanilla? Also, probably not, but I don't think it would need to be like a direct
Mm-hmm.
dynamic in my relationship. What's the difference between an open relationship and polyamory? An open relationship or ethical non monogamy is a relationship style. You are choosing to partake in that relationship style. You could have been monogamous and maybe you open your relationship to like swinging or trading partners or playing with other like
Mm-hmm.
you've decided to participate in a relationship style within your monogamous relationship. um it is a choice versus an identifier versus we are polyamorous. If I wasn't with Ethan, I would still be polyamorous. If Ethan wasn't with me, he would still be polyamorous. We are polyamorous people. It is part of the humans we are. It is not just a style of relationship we partake in. um Ethical non-monogamy is typically the like umbrella term for all of the things. Um, so you'll hear people refer to like ENM, and that could be anything from like swinging, an open relationship, poly. But poly's the only one in there that's like an actual like that's who I am,
Mm-hmm.
not just an activity I do.
Mm-hmm.
I would say more people are open than
Mm-hmm.
poly. Um, and with open relationships comes like person I went for coffee with this week. With that territory comes like, this is my primary partner. She used that languaging at coffee. A lot of her languaging came back to like, we we are emotionally closed but physically open. I'm not interested in we. I was only interested in her. But I find the biggest difference between like going for coffee with somebody who's poly versus open or non-monogamous is a lot of their languaging goes back to like how they operate as a couple, even if they're claim to be exploring things by themselves. Typically I get the like, oh, but would you be okay meeting my partner? My partner likes to meet the people I'm talking to. Like we kind of have a ranking system and an approval, and typically their partner would be able to be like, no, you can't see them, where we don't have those systems over here.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody was curious about polyamory, what would you tell them?
Do your own research. Don't be looking at polyamory online and going, I'm gonna jump into this. Do research and really like. We talked about it early on in the podcast. You go fucking look at the episodes. Of really doing the work on yourself. One of my biggest turn-ons in people is self-work. One of my biggest, yes, I'll sit and be in your space, in your orbit for years. If you've done work, real legitimate work, um, and it's super evident, people that haven't, it's so fucking evident. And it's not just to understand vernacular, it's really understanding, to Jill's point on the last question, are you polyamorous or are you just looking for an experience? And that's fucking fine. I say just because I am polyamorous, and on the other side of it is just looking for an experience. That's how I decipher the two. You're allowed to be just looking for an experience. You're allowed to be wanting to have fun. You're allowed to, I fucking get it 100%. I do. But it's understanding and knowing that before you get involved with anybody else, because you're going to get your fucking feelings hurt in some of the worst ways if you go in this for the wrong reasons. If you go in this because it looks fun, if you go in this because you're searching for a piece of yourself, this might be the piece. But you better have already done the fucking work to know that this is actually going to be the piece. Right? Like it's very, very important. And I would also follow that up with, if you're looking for somewhere to start, I recommend Jessica Fern's Polysecure every single time someone asks me this question. Not because I see money from it, because I don't, because it directly involves the conversation around attachment theory and how we develop our ability to connect with people. And no one's ever broken that shit down for me in a way that makes the way that I love make sense. Excuse me. I've known about attachment theory. I know about all the mental health things. I did not know that the two were attached to the way that I love people, and having explained at length. There's a whole little project you get to do. It's so worth doing, and you'll know right away. You'll understand yourself so much better from a place of, this is how I receive love. This is why it feels so bad in my system to receive love this way, because it's actually like, it's toxic. It's part of my disordered attachment. It's a part of this way that has harmed me in the past. So how do I get help? It's not that polyamory or ethical non-monogamy is the answer. It's just that there's more ways to show and accept love than monogamy that fill, give safety, and provide fulfillment to everybody involved in that process, than just monogamy. Jessica Fern's book, Polysecure, more than two, cannot fuck with the life of me remember, like there's 3 authors on that one. And they're both very analytical books by way of breaking down all versions that they can cover of what polyamory, ethical non-monogamy, more than two, means to them, and what it means to the world, and the fight for liberation and the freedom of love, to be love. So there's a lot of that, and it's a very eye-opening, if nothing else, it's an eye-opening read both ways.
Yeah, I say this all the time, but you better figure out if you are polyamorous before you figure out if you like a polyamorous person. We've seen it. We've had it happen to both of us, and we've had the firsthand experiences of people being like, no, but I like you. Okay, but I am polyamorous. And if you are not okay with that, that's a problem. I've had people, like, I use Ethan because Ethan has more, he's had more, like, serious isn't the right word, more long-term connections, I guess. I date, I go for coffee. I haven't had a ton of success with, like, people that actually stick around. So I use Ethan. Like, we've had to navigate people liking Ethan and being okay with me, but being uncomfortable with the rest of his partners. And, like, you're not polyamorous. You can't be okay with me because of proximity, but not be okay with how Ethan is as a human. That means you've accepted that you have to hang out in the same room as me, but you can ignore that he has other partners. And I just really think figuring out if you are polyamorous needs to happen before you figure out if you like a polyamorous person, because them being polyamorous is not going to change no matter how hard you try to ignore it. And it just ends in, like, uncomfy. Everybody's uncomfy. Everybody realizes it's not working. Feelings get hurt, all that kind of stuff. I think 2.5 years in, my opinion has changed. Like, in the beginning, I was like, no, whatever. Like, if you're monogamous and you're curious, like, that's fine. Like, you can explore. And I just don't really have a lot of patience for that anymore. Like Ethan said, I need you to do some learning, some reading, some reflecting, and I need you to have asked yourself some questions before you're just like, yeah, but I like you.
Yeah, I think early on we were both in the also learning ourselves phase. We were in the learning about polyamory, so it made sense if someone else was kind of in this, am I actually polyamorous, am I actually monogamous phase? If we had more grace for it. But then, like, really quickly, we found out that there was some harmful and toxic shit about viewing not only ourselves that way, but the way that we should be navigating the spaces this way. And it became really, really evident, really, really fucking fast that if you haven't done any of the work, you are going to crash and burn in a spectacular fucking way and in front of everybody. That's not a shame thing. That's like it's the nature of polyamory. There's multiple fucking people here all the time. So when something happens in part of the connection, it happens in front of everybody. It no matter what, the fallout of that, even if it happens in private, happens with everybody on both sides. Like if everyone remains neutral, that happens, everybody hears about it, so it has to go through that community. It affects everybody. So you better have your shit together. I don't need you to have all the answers, but you better have your shit together. You can be a fucking mess. You better have your shit together.
Yeah, I think my last thing I would say, if you're considering exploring polyamory or doing more digging or whatever, you can truly do and be and have whatever you want in this life, but you better say it out loud, because this is more so reflective of my experience as a polyamorous human. I've had a lot of really unfortunate connections that have claimed they're only interested in a female connection. And when I say they claimed, it's because they claimed. They could have walked in here and been like, I think you're cool and I think your partner's cool, and that would have been great. But that's not what they did. They walked in saying, no, I'm interested in female connection only. I have no interest in your partner. I'm like all good. And then they exist around Ethan, and this is never Ethan's fault. It never has been, it never will be. But they exist around Ethan and they realize he's cool because he is cool. And then all of a sudden, we have attention on Ethan. And again, that's cool, but you have to inform everybody involved. You don't get to change a dynamic without telling the dynamic. So if you decide to explore non-monogamy, polyamory, whatever it may be for you, you still have to communicate. You still have to tell everybody involved. And people can't consent if they don't have all the information. So just say your shit out loud, and it's all figure outable. You just got to actually say it out loud.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us.
You can find the podcast at Shifting the Lens Podcast. We post video to videos automatically on Spotify, and then we also post to YouTube if you are anti-Spotify like us. Other than that, you can listen to the audio anywhere you stream your podcasts, and you can find us on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube at Shifting the Lens Podcast.
I'm Ethan with Fight Me on This and Sir Lifts.
I'm Jill at CoachJill.April, and I'll catch you next time.